Hi, welcome to Home Farm. Today we're reviewing the battery-operated Greenworks blower vacuum. So as we head into autumn, the leaves start to fall, and typically you've got one of two options. Either you can go out and rake them all up and either put them on your compost heap or dispose of them, or if you don't want to have that back-breaking work, you can use a blower vac. So we've opted to use the Greenworks this year. The Greenworks doesn't actually mulch the actual leaves, so basically all it's doing is just acting as a vacuum.
Collecting them.
It's basically collecting them into a big collection bag, and then you can choose what you want to actually do with those leaves.
Fallen leaves is often one of those things that we kind of forget that are actually really useful for our garden. A lot of people just tend to bag them up and dispose of them, and that's just such a shame because they're actually fantastic mulching around your plants or in the borders for the winter. You never know if you're going to have a heavy winter. For example, heavy mulching around your tender plants, like we've got a banana plant just here to our right, and we heavy mulched it last year and it really made a big difference. Also, if you want to keep your dahlias in the ground, it's recommended that you put 6 inches of mulch on top of your dahlia tubers. So that's what I'm going to be doing this year. So to be able to actually reuse those leaves that are just literally otherwise going to be discarded is a really good idea. So if you can't have them mulched and put them back onto your borders, then I would really recommend actually just making an area next to your compost bin and actually leaving them there and letting them naturally kind of mulch down so that you can use them next year.
Or if you're actually collecting the leaves at this time of year when they just start to fall and you're still mowing your grass, you can actually layer those in your compost heap, so you can have a layer of leaves, then grass, then leaves, then grass. That just creates a really good environment for the actual compost to activate and kick off. The other really handy thing about this particular product from Greenworks is that it's got interchangeable batteries, and it actually extends beyond just using those batteries with your other gardening products, because Greenworks have got a range of other products that are for home use, like drills or vacuum cleaners, and you can actually start to interchange those batteries with those particular appliances.
We did review a leaf blower vacuum last year, mulcher, and that was actually a corded one, because the problem with leaf blowers in the category that they're in is that unfortunately they just chew through batteries. I mean, they just get through power like nobody's business. There are other tools, gardening power tools that you can use that are much lower on the consumption of power, but leaf blowers are definitely in that category where they just, unfortunately, they're trying to put a battery and you just drain it really quickly. So that has typically been what's held back manufacturers, so they've kind of stayed on the corded side. And when we did review the one that was last year that was corded, it was a great product, but the cord is just such a nightmare. So I really strongly recommend, if you're looking at a leaf blower or a vacuum, really seriously look at just a battery one, because honestly, with the bag and the collection bag and then the cable, and you're moving around so much. I mean, with, for example, mowing, you're typically kind of going in a rhythm of a straight line, but with leaf blowing or leaf vacuuming, you're just kind of moving everywhere to go in, and you're not really thinking about where you're going. So because you're constantly moving and your feet are constantly moving in different directions, you get tangled up so quickly. So honestly, a corded one, I think, is I wouldn't recommend it.
I think it's okay if you've got a smaller garden, but if you have to start going like 10, 15, 20 meters away and running with the extension cords and everything else, it is a real hassle. In terms of power, it was pretty good. You are sacrificing a lot of the power versus a corded unit or a petrol unit versus the battery operated ones, because we mentioned that it has to preserve a bit of battery, but it was generally quite good. It probably struggled a little bit with some of the leaves on the grass itself. On graveled areas, it was actually perfect. It pulled all of the actual leaves up without actually pulling any stones or pebbles into the actual unit itself.
I thought it was a reasonable weight. It was quite comfortable.
It weighs about just over 6 kilograms. So yeah, because you have got it strapped on and you're actually walking around with it, it actually wasn't too heavy on the shoulders. But it's not something that's supremely light, but it's also not very heavy. So it is just
comfortable.
It's comfortable. You have got the option of buying it as a tool only. So if you've already got batteries from Greenworks, you can just buy the tool, or if you don't actually have any batteries at all, you can just buy it as a combo kit.
As with a few products that we've reviewed from Greenworks recently, it does come with a 3-year warranty, which I think is really great.
That's fantastic.
I think it's a reasonable amount of time, especially if you're going to be using something regularly. So I think it's a good warranty.
As with most battery operated gardening equipment, this wasn't very noisy, and this particular leaf blower runs at about 106 decibels.
Another feature which I really liked was the variable speeds. Not all leaf blowers come with that. We have reviewed some products in the past where we've tested it's kind of like on or off, or you know, there's only 2 options. This one came with a few different variable speeds, and I quite like that. I thought it was really good because it's a clever way to preserve battery if you're just not in a hurry and you're happy to just spend the time, put it on a lower speed and just take your time, go through. You'll preserve your battery much better. So I hope you found this video useful and interesting. Please do us a favor, if you like this video and you've watched to the end, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe, ring the bell, and we hope to see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.
And if you've got any questions, leave them in the comments below.